What's up, future officers? My name is Tejas and I warmly welcome all of you to this special episode of iLead. Today we are going to be discussing an article which is making a lot of rounds in our newspapers almost every day. From the last 2-3 weeks this is appearing. The topic is USA's tariffs on India, right? So USA's tariffs on India, meaning to say that how did all of this unfurl? What is the background behind this? What is the implications of India? How will India take this forward? What is our strategy for this? How do we aim to counter this with our monetary policy? What happens to our stock market? Is this the right time to buy gold or not? We will be doing a 360-degree analysis of this particular topic. So there's nothing to worry about. So with this 10 minutes of this video, this will act like an excellent knowledge pill for all of you, which you will be getting on a regular basis. So with this, you will be more exam ready and more analysis ready than ever before. So let's start quickly as to how all of this started. When Donald Trump was elected as the 47th president, he was the 45th president before. Now he's being elected for the second term. All of us Indians were very happy. We thought that, oh, Donald Trump is coming. This will mean an excellent tenure and a good bonhominess between India and USA. Everything is going to be very good. We will have a good relationship. This is what we thought. But then all of a sudden, Donald Trump, as soon as he went and he spent some time in the White House, he got to know that he has an unfavorable balance of trade with most of the countries in the world. And after this, suddenly one day, he started announcing tariffs on most of the countries. And to our surprise, even India was on that list. He told that we have a huge trade with India, bilateral trade, about $130 billion. And this is hugely in favor of India. What do I mean by hugely in favor of India? We are selling more to USA and we are getting a lot of money through dollars. But we are not buying what USA is selling to us. So the balance of trade is in India's favor. This was what Donald Trump accused us of. I mean, that was true, but nevertheless, we are a developing country. He has to understand that, right? And then what happened was he announced 26% tariffs on us. And he similarly announced tariffs on most of the countries. But if you see our competitors, who are our competitors in the kind of products we export to USA? Our competitors are Pakistan. Our competitors are Bangladesh, Cambodia, Vietnam. These are all our competitors. If you see the tariffs which was put on them, the tariffs was 20%, 19%, 21%, something like that. Now the Indian product was 25%. Now this gave us an unfair disadvantage, right? So because of this disadvantage, anything, if we were selling a shirt, for example, for $100, now that same thing would cost us $125. Whereas a shirt made from Bangladesh would only cost $120. So if you were an American consumer, what would you naturally go for? You would go for the cheaper product, $120, right? So we were already very skeptical as to what was going on. We initiated something called as trade talks. How many rounds of trade talks happened, sir, you might ask? There were 5 rounds of trade talks. Again and again, we had this discussion with USA. And after 5 rounds of trade talks, whatever tariffs were imposed, that is 26%, it was reduced to 25%. So just a 1% reduction, you can conclude by telling that the overall trade talks was kind of a failure itself, because not a lot of reduction was actually made, right? So after some time, they came up with a new accusation. USA came up with a new accusation, and they told that, see, you are buying Russian oil and Russia is using the money which you are buying from to finance its war against Ukraine. So indirectly, India is responsible for the war which is happening in Russia and Ukraine. As absurd as this might seem, now they allege this on us and they put an extra 25%. Already that first tariff was a little difficult to break out from. Now they put this extra 25%, making the overall tariffs to 50%, whopping 50%. This was supposed to be very difficult for us. Now, how would we manage this? Now, this was going to be very difficult and we tried talking this through, but of no use. they made this accusation like it's something which is happening right now. But we have been buying Russian oil from the last 3 years. It is not something new. Even China was warned, and the USA told that even China, they are also buying Russian oil. They are going to put 100%, 120% of tariffs on China. But till date, there has nothing been in effect. But from this 27th August onwards, this particular tariff execution has come into effect. Now, any product which is going from India to USA is going to face a whopping 50% tariff, right? And after this, you see, now after this, what would be our official response to this? Our official response was something which turned a lot of heads. Now, why do I say that? You know what India said? India said that it was USA's advice on whom we are buying Russian oil. Russia is definitely our all-weather friend, but why are we buying Russian oil on USA's advice? Because if we are buying Russian oil, the oil price would be maintained, the supply of oil would be maintained in the oil market so that the oil prices would not skyrocket. So somebody had to buy it from Russia and they had to sell it to the world. That was what USA was doing. Now there is this one trade expert who's the trade advisor of Donald Trump also. His name is called Peter Navarro. What is his name? Peter Navarro. So this Peter Navarro, he made a statement telling that India is not even buying oil to use it domestically. They are in a way funding the whole war. They are using some corporates to sell this oil. Most of the oil is being sold to some other foreign countries. So that was the accusation he made. Almost Peter Navarro, he spoke like he had a grudge against India. Now, what is our stand to this? Our stand, we told that, see Peter Navarro, we are buying oil based on our domestic interest. India is a sovereign country. We say that we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign. That is our first word in our preamble. So we will definitely continue to buy it, and we will buy it for our own national interest, for our own enlightened national interest. We will continue to buy it. We will not be forced to bend down the knee, and we will not be adjusting based on your coercive principles, and if you are going to put tariffs and if we are expected to yield to that, right? So this was the story so far. Now we come to which are the sectors which are going to be affected in India because of this 50% tariffs. There are a lot of industries, but if we mainly see which are the items which USA's buy, we can streamline this whole thing into a few sectors. Now what are these sectors? The first one is gems. Next one is jewelry. So this is gems and jewelry, something which we export to USA. Then the next one would be textiles, rug making, carpet making, shrimps, right? So all of these things are the main exports which we send to USA and what USA buys from India. Now on all of these sectors, you can notice one thing which is common in all of them. Can you tell me what is that one thing? If you have guessed that all these sectors are labor intensive sectors, then you are absolutely correct. Now, being labor intensive sectors, now in case these sectors get hurt, that would mean that lakhs of jobs in India would be endangered. If I have to take a few examples, where is that place where maximum people, their whole thing is going to get endangered? It is Tirupur. Okay, if you see Tirupur, that whole town in Tamil Nadu, all of them manufacture a lot of clothes, mainly to send to USA. They're all export graded quality of clothes. Same thing if you see gems and jewelry. If you see places like Surat in Gujarat, that whole town is going to get affected because a lot of gems, jewelry, diamond, everything is going to be stopped from this thing. Lots of jobs will be lost in that particular area. Again, if you see shrimp cultivation, okay, most of the coastal areas where shrimp is being exported, that is also going to be affected. So these are the areas and these are the sectors which will be affected because of this whopping 50% tariffs which has come into effect. Overall, if you see, we see that about 1% of our GDP is going to get affected because of this. They say that because of this 50% tariffs, our GDP is going to come down by 1%. Now, how do we counter this? Russia has always, batted for this. They have always told that we have to go for something called as RIC. Now, what is this RIC union? RIC is nothing but Russia, India and China. If Russia, India and China, okay, the countries on the east axis of Asia, if they come together, then we become a very big force to reckon with. We are already part of so many unions like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the BRICS. Now, if these three countries, which have different strengths, like for example, India has a lot of labor, okay, China has a lot of capital, and Russia has this technology, warfare, equipments, and if all of us come together, we can definitely battle it out with USA. Battle it out in the sense, in a trade aspect, in an economic aspect. So this is one side where Indian Prime Minister, as we speak, is in Shanghai Cooperation Organization. He is meeting China. He's met Xi Jinping and he's got a very warm welcome, very grand welcome, so that things are moving forward in this particular direction. Now you might ask another question. Sir, is this the only sectors? Is there no exceptions which USA has given? USA has given us two main exceptions. What are these two main exceptions? Number one, we have the pharmaceutical industry, and the second one, we have the electronics industry. Now, pharmaceutical industry and the electronics industry, both of them are exceptions because USA needs our pharmaceuticals. Our pharmaceuticals comes in generic medicines. It is very cheap and USA needs our drugs, similar to electronics. So they've made exceptions and they've told that very little tariffs or no tariffs, no additional tariffs will apply to this particular sector. So in that way, it is very good. Now, let's try to figure out what happens with our monetary policy. Now, in our monetary policy, that is how our RBI would counter this. What would they possibly do in the next quarter? See, in our monetary policy, which happens bi-monthly, one thing is they would reduce the interest rate for sure. Okay. So if they reduce the interest rate, what would happen? The money supply will increase, the production will increase, and when the production increases, you see that this will have a multiplier effect wherein a lot of money will flow into India. So it will kind of be counterbalance. So this would be our immediate this thing. But as you see, as the tariffs were introduced and right now, since it's going on, we could see that the whole stock market, the whole share market, if you see, everything turned red. Okay, everything was falling and you see suddenly that the Indian stock market is experiencing a very dip phase, right? It is experiencing a very bearish phase. All the stock markets have fallen down, but it is a very good time because gold prices might be expected to go higher right now. So overall, it makes sense that we start diversifying our exports also. Of course, that comes with its own set of, challenges, because where do we export these same commodities to? If we send it to Africa, there is definitely a demand, but do they have the purchasing power to buy it, right? And the same thing, if we are to send it to Latin American countries, okay, a little bit of production might go there, but then again, they have this comparative advantage, meaning to say, we more or less lie in the tropical belt of countries, and geographically, we more or less end up producing the same kind of commodities. Having the same kind of commodities, we come with our own set of challenges. We will not be able to trade very well. So, having said all this, does that mean that we should completely go against USA right now? No, if you ask me, that is not how we should look at international relations, because whatever this might be a small hiccup in USA-India relationship. There is not that India and USA will completely become enemies. India, we are the largest democracy in the world, and USA is the oldest democracy in the world. So being the oldest democracy and the largest democracy, that means that we are natural allies. Okay, maybe one term we have to wear it out, but USA and India are always natural friends. Maybe we have to try with diplomatic channels to try to solve this on one hand, and develop our exports to many countries on the other hand. And politically also, we must try forming newer institutions like the RIC, strengthen our institutions, wherein the old world institutions, the Bretton Woods institutions, they slowly start, becoming a little weak. And we have to strengthen institutions like ADB, AIIB, which we are doing, right? So this is our analysis of this episode of iLead. I hope that now you have a lot more clarity as to about everything you need to know about tariffs. So I'll see you all in the next episode where I'll bring a lot more information and a lot more videos like this. I hope that you like this. Let me know how you like this particular video. I would love to read your reviews. Thank you and have a nice day.